Hey YouTube, it's my Isha Marie and I'm back with another video. So in this video, I'm braiding someone else's hair and she's getting some jumbo box braids cut into a bob style. This is not a tutorial. I'm just giving you some tips if you're interested in this type of hairstyle. So the first important tip is going to be the way you part. Parting the hair is very important because that's setting the foundation for the hairstyle. Some people have a lot of issues with parting, and I suggest if you're one of those people, use some type of comb with a fine, like a rat tail comb, or use a comb that has a metal rat tail instead of plastic because it's a lot thinner, and that way it can slide through the hair better and give you a nicer part. And one thing that's really helpful is to just use the brick layering style. Brick layering is kind of hard to explain it, so I'm gonna just insert a picture of some bricks so you can see how your parts should look. Parting the hair in this style gives it a fuller look. And I've already said this before, but I'll say it again. Whenever you part the hair, you want to go through and add some edge control to that part, and then repart it, and then smooth the edge control through the roots. Tip number 2 is going to be, whenever you're parting in big sections, you have to make sure you add a lot of hair to make it look like that hair is coming from that section. You can't add a small piece of hair to a big part of a big section of hair and think you're going to get a full nice head of braids. It's just not going to work. That's whenever you do stuff like that, it makes it look scalpy, and by the time you're finished, you're gonna be able to see that person's entire scalp through the braids, and that's not a good look. Tip number 3. Okay, so if you think you're gonna run out of hair, the best thing to do if you think the client didn't bring enough hair, go ahead and part the hair, section off the entire head. So basically, you're just gonna put the hair. Her hair into a bunch of little ponytails, which is going to represent each braid. You're going to count each ponytail, and then you're going to take the hair and divide it up so that you can make sure you have enough hair to use for the entire head. Before I learned to do this, I used to hate having to stop, run to the hair store, get some more hair, or I used to hate having to stop and send the client to the hair store to get some more hair. It was just annoying. So once I learned to do this, that helped me out a lot. Okay, so I'm going to stop counting because, yeah, I may lose count down the line. So the next tip, I'll just say next tip. Okay, so when you're braiding hair, you always want to make sure you add some gel to the end of that real hair, so that it could blend a lot better with the caniculum hair or whatever hair you use in the braid. If you don't use something, the hair is already frizzy, especially if they're natural. So it's gonna look old really fast if you don't tame it with some gel or something. Before you start braiding, when you split the hair, you want to make sure, in order to make sure that braid is gonna be consistent the entire way from the tip to the root, you want to make sure you divide it into 2 sections, which is going to consist of a small piece of hair and then a larger piece. They shouldn't be the same size, which would be 50-50. You want to make it more like 25-75. Once you cross over the section that's 25% of the hair, add those 2 pieces together and you got 3 parts. It should be 3 even parts at that point. If that don't make sense, you can look at the demonstration at the beginning of the video and see exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so the next tip is going to be pertaining to the braid, the rubber band at the end of the braid. So when you braid the hair down, before you rubber band it, you want to make sure you look at the braid before or the braid next to it and make sure that they're the same length. And then if they're the same length, you can go ahead and put the rubber band on the braid. And it's always better to braid it too far down rather than braiding it not far down enough. Because if it's too far down, you can always just take another rubber band, tie it up a little bit higher than the previous rubber band. But if it's too short, then you'll have to braid it some more and then add the rubber band. So it's best to do more than less. After you burn the tips, you can cut the rubber bands off because some people don't like rubber bands on the ends. But this person, she was gonna go to the hair store and buy some of those little the little beads, the little gold beads that go around the tip that you just clamp around. So she didn't mind that they had rubber bands on them, so I didn't cut them off. Okay, so before you cut and burn the ends of the hair, first of all, you want to make sure you section off the hair row by row. So you're going to start with the very first row in the back of the hair at the nape. You're going to leave those down, and you're going to make sure the rubber bands are even across. Make sure they're even so that the bob will look straight. Once the rubber bands are even, then you can go ahead and cut the excess hair and then burn the tips. If you want some type of curl in the braid, you would have to bend the braid, bend it in the shape of like a circle or like the shape of a C, and then burn it and let it cool off. And then when you let it go, it should be curved. And I know as I'm giving you these tips, it's not showing a demonstration at the same time in the video, but at some point in this video, you'll be able to see an example of every tip that I give you. And then the very last tip that I have is when you put mousse on the hair. So in this video, I put a lot of mousse on her braids. I basically had to go braid by braid to apply the mousse because these braids are more, because they're bigger, they're gonna look older a lot faster than a smaller braid. So to reduce frizziness, you want to go ahead and you're really setting the real hair. I don't even know if the mousse sets the caniculum hair because the caniculum hair is not real. It's like a fiber. But I know for a fact that the mousse is setting the real hair. So just make sure you're applying enough mousse to set the real hair. And like I said, that'll reduce frizziness. I am not a professional braider. I've been braiding for a long time, but I'm not a professional. But if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below. If you like this hairstyle, go ahead and like this video. And that's all I have for now. So I'll see you guys next time.